There's got to be diminishing returns on a design. You can update it, but if it, and 911. Okay.
The more successful you are, right? The more this is we started the conversation with Johnny seeing all the California freeways are flooded with Model 3s and Model Ys.
Insane, yeah.
So at some point,
and
people
X's.
Are like, I just don't want to be driving the same thing as everybody else. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, or you take a less safe, more inferior car as your option. I don't know.
Cybertruck's right around the corner, so I can't get enough of talking about that Cybertruck. We're going to look at a note from Sam Corus from ARK Invest saying what demand might be like for that monstrous tank of a truck. Could the industry and the market be underestimating the impact of the Cybertruck? We'll talk about a recent Barclays article, what Tesla needs to do to continue their dominance. So let's get right to it. What will demand be for the Cybertruck? Analysts, forecasting agencies, and auto manufacturers once thought electric vehicles would become little more than a niche product. Will they be wrong about the Cybertruck as well? In ARK's view, the low expectations for Tesla Cybertruck are based on a blind spot. Today, most automakers fund their development and sales of unprofitable EVs with profits from their gas-powered truck sales. If the Cybertruck were to disrupt that profit center, traditional automakers could end up in trouble. Boy, is that the understatement of the year. The only thing propping up legacy OEMs are their truck sales, and they've got to be bricks as the much anticipated Cybertruck is about to hit the markets. Will it be popular? Will it take away from the internal combustion engine truck sales that we need so desperately to make this transition to EVs? In ARK's first year, 2014, the U.S. Energy Information Administration forecasted that long-range electric vehicles would have little to no U.S. market share in 2040. Last year, the market share of U.S. EVs topped 5%. So now, having increased its forecast each year, the EIA expects U.S. EV market share to plateau at about 14% in 2040. As shown below, according to our research, global EV market share is likely to scale to plus 70% by 2027, and the U.S. will not be far behind. Let's go ahead and take a look at this chart showing the EIA electric vehicle forecasts and compare it with what is actually happening. So as you can see, each one of these color-coded dots represents a different year. As electric vehicles hit the markets, they increase the amount of EVs that they feel will be on the roads in future years. Problem is, the EIA is thinking in linear terms. Take a look at the US actual BEV sales and the sharp increase in 2020. As we approach 2025, do you think that line will taper off? Or do you think it will continue to move skyward? You would think as the years pass that eventually the EIA will get wise to the fact that this is not a linear growth story, this is an exponential growth story, and that they need to tailor their expectations as such. This chart right here is Exhibit A on why legacy OEMs figured they had more time. Experts are forecasting a linear growth story when it comes to electric vehicles, and that's just not the case. The EIA expects trucks to constitute 69% of all vehicles in the US by 2050, even though electric trucks will not gain traction beyond 10% share of that total, as shown below. We disagree. In addition to the 1.5 million existing Cybertruck reservations, early Google Trend data suggests that the Cybertruck could be as mainstream as the Tesla Model Y. Your boy is on that reservation list and can't wait to have his hands on that magnificent, monstrous tank of a truck. On April 2nd, 2023, just as Elon Musk tweeted that he was walking the Cybertruck production line, the number of searches for the Cybertruck on Google exceeded those for the Model Y, as shown below. Notably, Cybertruck search volumes originated in truck-loving geographies, potentially suggesting a desire to buy. You actually have their interest peaked. Once these vehicles get out there on the roads and once they see what it can actually do, that ugly duckling will transform into a unique, beautiful swan that is unlike anything in the truck market today. Functionality, style, performance, and dare I say price. I sure hope that they're able to bring this thing down into a price range that decapitates the US truck industry. This could be game changing. It would be gangbusters if they're able to produce the Cybertruck at an efficient clip that they're able to make money off of and then still lower the price and decapitate internal combustion engine truck sales. Legacy OEMs would have to wave the white flag. Their only hope of surviving the decade is that the Cybertruck flops. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's an unlikely scenario. Just look at the red, where we're talking about search data for Tesla's ultimate vehicle to date. And it will be the Cybertruck. It will be very powerful. It will have the functionality of a heavy-duty truck with the luxury of what Tesla's known for. It'll be able to combine both of those metrics and add an aesthetic which is truly unique and designed for punishment. While sell-side analysts may be uncomfortable forecasting exponential EV growth, we believe it would be a mistake for them not to consider the implications Cybertruck's success could have for traditional automakers. When Cybertruck is successful, note I did not say if. When Cybertruck is successful, the writing will be on the wall. You're going to see cataclysmic failure by mid-2024 as Cybertruck sales skyrocket. Let them find a way to ramp up production while cutting costs. It will be end of days for legacy OEMs. End of days. It's not a matter of if, it's truly a matter of when the prices come down and they destroy the price parity for internal combustion engine trucks. But if you're not convinced Tesla has already won the decade, let's go ahead and see what Barclays suggests that Tesla does in order to maintain their dominance, shall we? Tesla must address this question on its path to dominance. Barclays wonders if Tesla needs more models and trim options to expand its market. Well, I guess there's no such thing as a dumb question. Wait, what? Well, this just in. There is such a thing as a dumb question, and Barclays just asked it. Let me be frank right quick. What Tesla's doing is not new. Problem is, it's very new to the automotive industry, but imagine, would your willingness to buy the next iteration of the Apple iPhone change if they switched up the design radically? No. You're buying it for its compatibility to upgraded software, the hardware of the chips that are inside, and most likely the camera. That's the main thing iPhone markets when they release a new iteration of their iPhone series. And I don't hear anybody else saying that Apple needs to change up their lineup. Tesla is doing things in a way that makes sense, not only to the customers, but to their bottom line. Having a million types of Model S, X, Y, and 3 would be astronomically expensive. And ask anybody that's making electric vehicles how easy it is. Ask them how much money they're making on every EV sold. I guarantee you that number will have a minus sign in front of it, with the exception of a few companies in Asia. But I digress. Let's continue with the article and see what Barclays really mean. I mean, I'm a little charged right now suggesting that Tesla is doing it wrong, and they have industry-leading margins, impeccable demand in the face of a recession. This has kind of got me a little hyped, but let me calm down, read the article. Tesla is set up well to gobble up market share, but Barclays analyst Dan Levy questions how a key strategic choice will play out. Levy is intrigued by the issue of model concentration at Tesla, as the carmaker has far more limited array of configuration compared with industry rivals. We appreciate that Tesla has embodied the global auto push to simplification and complexity reduction, he wrote in a Tuesday's note to clients. Yet with Tesla increasingly facing demand constraints, and with price cuts/discounts required to clear more volume, it begs the question whether Tesla is running into an issue with excess model concentration. Now, on the surface, it could appear that way, if you forego the fact that the industry is cyclical, and that due to the recent Fed hikes, cars are more expensive now than they've ever been. Sure, there will be less people wanting to buy right now, but that doesn't mean that demand has evaporated. That means the willingness of people to spend extra money on a car note has. And as soon as those economic pressures alleviate, or if Tesla continues to drive down costs, whichever happens first, more customers will navigate the site and purchase vehicles. You can't buy what you can't afford. And right now, pockets are tight. People aren't buying name brand stuff in the store. No. You don't get Coke today. You get Kirkland. There is definitely a squeeze on the wallets that not just Tesla is experiencing, the entire industry is experiencing. And I'd be more convinced of this argument if Tesla was going to produce 10 million vehicles this year instead of the 1.8 million projected, 2 million if we're being honest. I'd be more concerned. And it's kind of odd that you can have this duality that at the moment, Tesla's production is so low, yet it's the highest in the industry when you're talking about electric vehicles. And the market penetration is in its infancy. As long as demand is in excess of production, Tesla will be okay for the foreseeable future. And by the time the economic pressures wane, Tesla's going to be well on their way to their 20 million goal by 2030. The demand is there. There is no waning of demand, just depth in people's wallets. For illustration, Levy notes that Tesla has about 180 different trim configurations for its Model 3, while the BMW 3 Series has roughly 195,000. One of these things is not like the other on many metrics, as the Model Y was the world's best-selling car for the first quarter. Odd, I thought Tesla was doing it wrong. Tesla's path to volume gains has been a contrast, Levy wrote. Not only do Tesla's two primary models, Model 3 and Y, hold significant share, but we'd also argue that part of Tesla's margin lead over other OEMs reflects a very limited set of trim levels given significant scale benefits. But while Levy sees room for Tesla to rack up further gains in market share, he also deems that the path to share gains is getting harder, as the company faces demand challenges and has had to cut prices this year. That is simply not true. There are no demand issues. The auto industry is cyclical. On top of that, it is facing huge macroeconomic pressures, and despite that, Tesla is still selling vehicles like hotcakes. What demand issue? Levy explored whether cars like Apple's iPhones in that model configurations become less important because customers have the opportunity to customize their experience through software. He sees several cases to be made for the parallel, though he's still not sold. Of course not. The industry has been doing things a certain way for a century. It is hard for the human brain to configure a new way of doing business after the idea has been held in cement for so long. Not only are different vehicle types required for different use cases, but vehicles can also be an expression of one's taste, styles, and preferences, he wrote. Simply, while most people don't mind that many others around them have the same iPhone or Android, most people don't want the same car as others. And I would counter that. It's not about whether or not your vehicle is the same as someone else's. It's about having the best product, regardless of its popularity. People have iPhones because it is the easiest thing to utilize, offering incredible value for its purchase price. This is arbitrary, and it costs more money for the manufacturer to do. If we look at the auto industry right now, the margins are razor thin. It's a moot argument. You've got a scenario where Tesla is the leader in electric vehicles for good reason. One, because their electric vehicles stand apart not only from other electric vehicles, but from the internal combustion engine counterpart. Now, you might say, what happens when other manufacturers create electric vehicles that are easily Tesla comparable? Well, I'll say, show me one. Well, I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about 5 years from now. Well, that would be true if Tesla was standing still. They're doing any and everything to not only improve the product, but to lower its cost to produce. Tesla is a manufacturing giant, and they're doing things totally different than how things have been done in this industry over a century. This is innovative, works of art, and that's quoting Toyota. Look, I've said enough about it. Let's hear Tesla's chief designer put it a little more eloquently than I ever could.
One of the things, again, we keep going to Model S. We skipped over 3 and Y, but that's fine.
And X, we really skipped over X.
Yes, you guys have been, but on Model S now is 10 years old as a production car, 2013 to 2023. We've seen the interior update. You've added a yoke-style steering wheel. You've turned the screen now to a horizontal layout. You've done a lot of stuff under the skin, but overall, the body hasn't changed. When would we see, or do we need to see, are you guys totally changing the way vehicles are updated, right? Traditional cycle is you do
8 years.
You do like a major model, facelift 4 years in, another 4 years go by, and then you do a whole new generation. We're now 10 years in. Like, you see where I'm going? Like, what is Tesla doing when it comes to updating, doing major next generation vehicles?
I mean, we just updated the Model S, but the interior and the exterior got a refresh, the new lights and new fascias, and the car looks, again, I think, clean and modern and of its time. It's it's become a timeless design. I think it still looks fresh and good on the road, and people are still attracted to it. And there's a little bit of, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And we also have we're not traditionalists. We don't look at like cycles because everybody else does cycles. It doesn't, what's right for us and our customers, and we're just want to constantly improve. So there's constant improvement that's happening through the course of the life of Model S, and we don't wait to bundle that into something. As soon as we can get it into a customer's hands, we want to get it there.
Right. And you've done that with the motors and the batteries.
Yeah. Over-the-air updates continually make your car feel fresh and new as well.
But there's no business case, because I have heard from not even early adopters, folks who maybe got it on a lease, who are like, now I'm kind of bored of it, and they haven't changed it, and I'm going to switch to a Taycan now because my neighbor now there's 4 Model S's in my neighborhood, and they all look the same. There is no sort of marketing or business research that indicates, gosh, we should probably change.
There's got to be diminishing returns on a design. You can update it, but if it 911. Okay.
The more successful you are, right? The more this is we started the conversation with Johnny seeing all the California freeways are flooded with Model 3s and Model Ys.
Insane, yeah.
So at some point,
And
people are
X's.
like, I just don't want to be driving the same thing as everybody else. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, or you take a less safe, more inferior car as your option. I don't know.
Damn! Sick bird! Now, this is coming from Motor Trend. This is the same people that gave the Model S the Motor Trend Car of the Year 2013. They're no strangers to the greatness of what Tesla provides, but we're talking about a fringe select of individuals that might feel Tesla needs to spice up their lineup, do some kind of radical... What? As Franz suggested, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But goodness gracious, they did do. Inside, they've changed the layout of the Model S. Outside, when I'm driving, I can tell the new Model S versus the old versions of the Model S. And the new Model S is these subtle tweaks that they made in the trims. It's beautiful. There's no reason to change something that is so dynamic and honestly will be iconic. That is the vehicle that has changed the landscape of how we'll view the automotive industry, bar none. That car doesn't need to change. And it would be pointless to just give it a multitude of various different trims and model design. No. And I love Franz's response. He's like, well, I guess you could take a less safe, more inferior product. That's totally up to you, bro. But I guarantee you, it will not be the consensus of those that are in the know. If you want your car to look different, but be a death machine on by all means, to each his own. But if you want the safest, most functional, with the grittiest of performance features, you're going to choose the vehicle that is the best, not the one that is not like the other because I'm a unique, special snowflake and I need that to be expressed in the products that I have. Nobody does that with the iPhone, and nobody's going to do that with these computers on wheels because the software matters, and then you want to make sure that it's the safest thing that you put your family into.
If you have kids, or just you care for your, well-being, any Tesla is the safest car on the road. Like, how do you reconcile that?
Look, Mercedes and Volvo could argue against that pretty.
But probability of injury, and it's proven not by us but by other standards, and it's very public that the Teslas are the safest cars on the road. So,
get him, Franz. When he tries to push back on your knowledge, you get him. It's proven, bro. Teslas are the safest vehicles on the road. Why would you? Volvo, they can't say are the safest by design. You can't go at the Tesla chief designer with that nonsense.
It's an argument. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
you know,
okay,
like
okay.
we can.
But
cultivate that,
That's a very that's a very
understand
thoughtful argument.
I
But
understand your question.
But I mean, you're a business, right? So it's you're
Yeah.
look, you're at massive success. Your sales keep going up. Most valuable car company in history. I know all that, but I'm just saying, human nature.
You want to know when we're going to do new things, and I can't
Well,
tell you.
no. Okay.
I'm just saying, do you need to? Like, should we just stop expecting that you're going to do there's going to be some massive?
No,
because
we
to be
will-
clear, I love the Model S
We
design.
will constantly continue to improve it. So yes, but if I say something, then people are going to.
No, I know, but I guess what Ed's.
Take what you can get. The Model S is still probably the best vehicle on the road, bar none, when you talk about functionality, performance, and style. Maybe not price, right? And obviously the Model Y is the best car on the road right now because its price is in the range, but it obviously doesn't have the performance of a Model S. You get what I'm saying? They're not doing things wrong. The way we've been doing things is wrong. Don't come at Tesla, the most profitable car company, when you're just looking at the car business, the most profitable car business, and be like, aren't you doing it wrong? What's the likelihood that everyone else has been doing it wrong and we're doing it right now? Let's put aside our preconceived notions of how things should be, and let's let Tesla be Tesla, let Elon be Elon, and let them continue to be the greatest company that the world has ever seen. Well, that's all I got. Be easy. Hey.